Hi, I'm Mihir Joshi and welcome back to part 2 of the MJ show with Kaushal Inamdar. Now, I just realized something when we were shooting part 1 that if I go by any linear sort of timeline, we'll probably need about 2.5 hours to cover the story. So I'm now going to go into things that I love and then things that he loves and talk a little bit about all of them. So, like I said, firstly, part 1, if you missed it, for the love of God, check it right now and then you'll understand why I said what I just did about 30 seconds ago. But we are going to go into a whole lot of other things now. We'll talk about a few movies right now. So let's talk about that right now. Okay,
Right.
start Zhala. You did that play which was really loved by people. And then you realize that this is something that you want to do.
Right.
So how long did it take for the transition to happen between doing music for plays and friends to making, say, something commercially, like which was released on CD or in a movie or whatever?
Yeah, it was immediately next year we released our first album
Okay.
called Shubhrakalya Muthvar.
Okay.
It's there on iTunes to check for you.
Lovely.
And,
That's great, isn't it? I mean, I know that a lot of your music is now available on iTunes.
Yeah.
And you
Not a lot, but yeah, I've started.
You started
I mean,
putting
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean is, I remember recently you told me there was another album, Gaganzula,
Gaganazula, yeah.
Gaganzula, which is also now available on
Yes,
iTunes.
it's available
So
on iTunes.
Kaushal Inamdar is what you need to search on iTunes. You'll find his music, download it, and this first album, whom did you have on it?
Yeah,
Was it you singing?
Though we were all friends. I
Okay.
wasn't singing. I
Okay.
just composed the music.
The tunes, okay.
Yeah, and we were all college friends who sang in that album.
Okay.
But when the sound engineer, we recorded that in SL Studio. The studio is no more now.
Right.
But when we recorded, the sound engineer said, "Do you guys know what a good job you are doing?
Okay.
You should have some professional singer singing in this."
Correct.
And so we invited Sadhana Sargam
Okay.
to sing one song, and she sang one song. But
Lovely.
that was all. And then in another 4 years,
Right.
it took me 4 years down the line to actually compose for my first film,
Okay. Which was?
which was a film called Krishna Kachchi Meera.
Okay.
It never saw light of the day,
Oh, okay.
but both the singers
Right.
who sang for me, Ajit Parab and Yogita Godbole,
Right.
Pathak now, and they both won the state award for best playback singers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But that best music composer title was always eluding me from then.
Right.
But my singers have always won awards.
Won the awards. So when did that come to you?
This year.
This
Then I
year.
did Ajanta.
Ajanta.
We swept almost all the
All
awards
the
this year.
Absolutely.
We got 8 Radio Mirchi awards. We
Okay.
got the Big FM award. We got the state award. I got the state award, the Sahyadri Cine Ratna Puraskar, the Sanskruti Kala Darpan award. Almost all the awards.
Fantastic.
This year.
So Ajanta is his latest soundtrack, which the film was also very beautifully made, and I mean it's got great music. Actually, Ajanta and the movie before that, Balgandharva, were both made by
Yeah.
Nitin
Chandrakant Desai.
Chandrakant Desai, and I think for whatever it's worth, I think that man is an absolute genius.
Yes,
I think his
absolutely.
movies are so phenomenally made, and I can't wait to see what more he's going to come out
Right.
with. And I have to say this right now for everybody to know. I've been saying this since the movie came out. The last time he came on my radio show was almost a week after Balgandharva came out.
released.
I also had the great pleasure of sitting beside him for the premiere of the movie. He told me, the movie is going to come out, and I said I want to come because I'm a huge Balgandharva fan. In fact, one of my favorite albums growing up,
Yes.
and one of the albums that I have the most fondest memories of because I spent so many hours listening to this cassette. And
Right.
original cassette पण नव्हती. बाबांनी record केलेली. It was written. You know how we had those old Sony cassettes, and you'd write down your name on, write down the name of what the CD
And
was.
then the tape used to
And the
come
tape
out.
would come out.
And then we used to put a
Put
pencil.
a pencil and turn it
and
around.
then Yeah,
All of those things.
I got a message on the internet a few days back showing a picture of a cassette and a pencil. And then underneath it was written that the next generation
Will
won't
not know
understand
what
the
is this
connection.
connection. But yes, what the cassette I was talking about was an album called Mala Umazlele Balgandharva by
Kumar Gandharva.
Kumar Gandharva. And very recently, about 4-5 years ago actually, I found the CD of that, which is released by Saregama. Full props to them for getting that album out. And I found it at Dadarla, काय ते,
Maharashtra
Maharashtra Watch and Gramophone Company. I was so happy, and I'm telling you, I hadn't seen Balgandharva's songs. I mean, I hadn't seen his movies and all of that. I fell in love with those songs, and I fell in love with the way Kumarji sang those songs.
Yes.
And then I was
No,
waiting.
that one reason for you saying that is
Huh.
Balgandharva acted only
in one film.
Two films actually.
Acha, two films, ka?
Yeah.
Okay.
The second is not known, and the music was by Sudhir Phadke.
Oh, okay.
Vitthal Rakhumai, if I'm not
Acha,
sure
I
of
thought
the
it was just one.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, and the one film was in Prabhat, that is shown in the
That is shown in the
movie.
film Balgandharva
Yeah,
as
that
well.
was Dharmatma.
Dharmatma, correct. Incidentally, after the movie came out,
Yeah.
I bought a box set of 10 or 8 movies
Yeah.
from the Prabhat
Yes,
company.
yes.
This is a beautiful brown looking box set which has Dharmatma.
Yes.
So I have these old archive movies. But you know, I digress. The point is, I wanted to see what's going to happen with those songs, you know, because those songs were brilliant and I didn't know who's going to sing them. Because when Kumarji sang it, it was phenomenal. So I told Kaushal, you know, I want to come for the movie, and I'll sit, you know, and I went and we sat beside each other. And at the end of the movie, man, I don't think I've ever been more emotional than I was after that movie.
Yes, I know, I remember.
And
Tears in your eyes.
I was like, my God, this is so brilliant. Apart from the fact that it's a wonderful story, I discovered what, in my opinion, is the greatest voice that I have heard in this current generation. People who are alive and who are still singing and who are absolutely kicking ass. I can't believe I'm saying that about a man like him. I'm talking about Anand Bhate, of
Yes,
course,
yes.
who sang so many phenomenal songs. And now I take great pleasure in saying that he's my friend.
Yeah.
And he's such a chilled out guy. I think
Absolutely.
I think the world respects him, and he is so chilled out. I mean, I remember Lakshata, when you came to my radio studio.
Yes, yes.
I thought, okay, Anand Bhate is coming, so he'll be like this, you know, austere,
Yes.
you know, classically trained classical singer and all that.
Stiff
So
upper lip
yeah,
and
stiff upper lip. So I wore a kurta, and I know you wore a kurta. He came wearing a shirt, like a very, you know, you'd think he works in an IT company, which incidentally he does. He works in an IT company. He came wearing a shirt and a pant, and I was blown away. I was like, how is that possible? On my fan page on Facebook, you can see that photo and you'll realize what I'm talking about. That man is a genius. He's a legend. And this here is the man who found him. I love the story of how you found him as well.
Yeah.
How about you tell everybody that story? Because it was fantastic even when I heard it back then.
Right. See, the Balgandharva, the challenge in regards to Balgandharva, doing Balgandharva was that
Yeah.
Balgandharva was a singer,
Correct.
actor in the at the turn of the century,
Correct.
at the turn of the 20th century.
20th.
That is.
Yeah.
So he started his career in say 1902 or 1908,
Correct.
and at that time women were not allowed on stage.
Correct.
Not allowed, or it wasn't.
It was kind of taboo.
Yeah,
not a
it
cool
was
thing to
taboo.
see a woman
So-
on stage. Yeah.
So Balgandharva was an actor who performed women's roles,
Women's roles, right.
and he was so good at it. Not just the singing, but also
The way
his
he-
presentation,
presentation.
the way he acted,
Correct.
and the way he produced his plays.
Correct.
He was the first fashion icon of Maharashtra.
Without
Women
a doubt.
imitated.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, if you see the movie, you'll see all the wives wanting to have the same kind of
Yes,
clothes
that Balgandharva
Balgandharva was wearing.
Yes.
And he was so loved by the fans that I remember that there's this one point in the movie where he introduced a woman to play a part on the stage that he would have done, and he performs as a man, and the whole audience says, we don't want her to sing, we want you to sing. And he says, but I'm not even dressed as a woman. People say, like, who gives a crap? We still want to hear you sing, you
Yes,
know.
yes.
I think the song was
Natha Hamaza.
Natha Hamaza. Oof.
So Balgandharva was such a legendary singer,
Yeah.
and even today,
Correct.
there are people
Yeah.
who, if you take Balgandharva's name, they get tears in their eyes.
Correct.
And such a legend.
Yeah.
So the problem was that we could not use his original recordings because they were very old
Correct.
for the film.
Correct.
And we had to record the songs anew.
Correct.
Now, a singer who is a legend, who is sort of a miracle in himself, how do you replicate a miracle?
Correct. How do you find a voice which will
Exactly.
represent this man on
Yes,
screen?
it's like doing a film on Lata Mangeshkar and not having Lata Mangeshkar sing in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you
Yeah, that's the
understand
challenge. How do you
predicament.
find a woman who's going to
Sing like-
when you see her on screen, you believe that, oh my God, this woman's voice is actually Lataji's voice.
Yeah, exactly.
So similarly, Balgandharva was that big a challenge.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you know, it's a little easier visually
Correct.
because you can believe that Ben Kingsley is Mahatma Gandhi,
Correct.
but you can't believe that anybody else's voice is Lata Mangeshkar's voice.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So I was faced with a similar predicament.
Correct.
That how do I replicate a miracle? It's not possible.
Yeah.
And I spent endless sleepless nights over it.
Yeah.
And we auditioned over 34 people.
Okay.
And we couldn't get it. 2
Right.
months had gone after I had signed the project.
Right.
And I had not recorded a single note.
Correct.
And Nitin Desai, the producer, Ravi Jadhav, the
Correct.
producer,
The
director of
the
BP,
film. Yeah.
he was directing the film.
Yeah.
And they called me to their cabin one day and they said, this is not happening, Kaushal, you are not recorded a single
song.
note.
Yeah.
And we are 2 months
Into the production.
into the production. I said, but we have to find a voice. And when we started discussing, Anand Bhate's name came in because he was a child prodigy.
Child prodigy.
Okay. At that time, he used to sing Balgandharva songs.
In fact, if I remember right, at his young age, he was called Balgandharva, right?
Balgandharva, yes.
Correct. Yeah.
And then, after that, he spent his time studying with
under
Pandit Bhimsen
Bhimsen
Joshi.
Correct.
Now, the style had changed. So, a lot of people in the music fraternity told me that, no point in looking him up because his style has changed now.
Correct.
He is now singing like
Panditji. Correct.
So I had given up on him, and after 34 auditions, when my morale was
Really low.
Aditya Oak, who was assisting me on this film,
Yeah.
I told him, let's take the car out, let's go to Pune and check this guy out for ourselves.
Correct.
If we want to reject him, let's not reject him on hearsay.
Yeah. Correct.
Let's go out.
Listen to him. We've
listen
heard
to
34
him.
people. Let's hear one more. Yeah.
One more. So at that point of time, the moment I was reprimanded by Nitin Desai, I took out the car and we went to Pune.
Right.
And that was the first time I met Anand Bhate. He's my age, but he was a child prodigy. I know him as a child prodigy.
Correct.
When I was not even counting straight, he was singing complex Natya Sangeet by Balgandharva.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I held him in great awe.
Yeah.
And when I went to him and I said, I'm sorry, but I want to audition.
You.
So he smiled and he said, sure. I said, the audition is not for you, it's for me because, I am not finding the right path. He said, sure. So in the evening, we sat in Pune studio.
Yeah.
And he sat, he squatted on the floor. And because he was not comfortable with standing and
mic,
with the mic in hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he squatted on the floor. Aditya was on the harmonium. I was on this side of the studio. And I have that video clipping, Mihir.
Yeah.
The moment he started singing, he sang Vada Jau Kunala Sharana.
Wow.
Vada Jau Kunala Sharana Ga. And the moment he started singing, you can see in the video clip that Aditya and I looked at each other and we knew that this was the guy.
Wow.
To sing.
Wow. Incredible.
So that's how he came in, and then 21 songs we recorded, and there were a lot of challenges because he was a classical singer.
Right.
He was not used to singing on a music track.
And on like a 3-minute thing or a 4-minute or 5-minute thing. I mean, his compositions would go on for a while.
He did not, otherwise you make the music track first.
Correct.
And then somebody sings on that.
Correct.
It was not possible here. So we worked in a reverse order.
Correct.
We recorded his voice first without anything.
Correct.
Just on a single tanpura.
Right.
And a tabla loop.
Correct.
And we recorded his voice. And he was not a 3-minute singer.
Correct.
That this is only this.
This is it.
This
like
is it.
Start and then middle and the end. Not
no,
like that. Yeah.
He's used to improvise.
Correct.
So we thought if we scuttled him in a certain way, or we
restricted his
barricaded him
in
any way, it would show on the effect of the song.
Correct.
So we let him sing for 15 minutes.
Correct.
One song for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and Aditya and I used to sit in front of him and applaud.
I can believe that.
And then we edited the song into 3 or 4 minutes,
for the film.
Now, and then we arranged the song.
Okay.
So the voice came first, and then the
music.
arrangements came.
Brilliant. Okay, here's one thing I'm definitely going to do. I'm going to come back to Kaushal's house. I'm going to sit and listen to those 15-20 minute recordings that I'm sure he has stashed away somewhere. I get to do that. But what you get to do is you get to check out some of the songs from the soundtrack of Balgandharva. I'm going to give you the links to those songs. Again, I'm saying this for the first time in this video because we've heard from a lot of you that annotations that we put up on screen cannot be seen on your cell phones and your iPad. So if you are watching it on your computer, you can see a couple of the annotations of some of the songs, but if you're not, check out the information area below the video, and I'm going to give you links to 2-3 of my favorite songs from the soundtrack of Balgandharva and one of his favorites. So if I had to pick one of your favorites, which would it be?
It would be undoubtedly Chinmaya Sakal.
Chinmaya Sakal, Hridaya, which was the one song which was not a Balgandharva song. It was a song composed by you for the film.
It was a song composed by me, and Anand Bhate won the national award for the song.
Yes.
And they didn't give me the national award because they thought that it was a Balgandharva song. They thought it was a traditional song. It was not a traditional song.
It was his song,
so,
and it is phenomenal.
So I think not getting that award was the biggest award that I could get.
Wow.
Because
they thought that they could not tell it apart, that which is a Balgandharva song and which is a song made by Kaushal for the film. Can I hear you sing a bit of that? I know it's a...
Yeah, it's a composer's, Marathi मध्ये अशी एक म्हण आहे ती वेगळ्या लोकांच्या बाबतीत, पण मी माझ्या बाबतीत म्हणतो की गायकाला गळा असतो पण बहुतेक संगीतकारांना नरड असतं. सो यू
No, still want to hear a bit of it.
It's always Chinmaya Sakal Hridaya, Chinmaya Sakal Hridaya, Sadaya Deya Govinda, Varvarada Kalimala Vinaya, Varvarada Kalimala Vinaya, Chinmaya Sakal Hridaya.
You get to see the video of that sung by Anand Bhate in the film as well, right here and in the info here. Please check it out. It's my personal request to you. It's one of my favorite songs ever, and I've said this before and I'm saying it again. Without a doubt, the best soundtrack I've heard out of India ever in my life. 32 years, never heard anything better than the soundtrack of Balgandharva. More with Kaushal in part 3 right here on the MJ Show. Come back.